Yo, what up? It's your boy Tixfo here, and I decided that this video I really wanted to talk about Trapper. Now, Trapper is a killer that you could literally soon consider an F tier killer. The way counterplay is just at him right now is just insane. On this live stream today, I played I guess it was like four or five games with Trapper, and I got totally average in all of them. Now, I didn't play perfect, but in my MMR, my hour level, I shouldn't play perfect. I shouldn't play to the reach where I am compatible against like the 3,000, 4,000 hour players, which I regularly meet right now. But the really bad thing about Trapper is that he is an extremely outdated character that has a really simple power that doesn't work. The way you play Trapper at the start of the game is that you start off by trapping off an area and making sure that survivors are in danger if they decide to loop you around that area. It's kind of like Hag. You're trying to take control of most of the area to secure yourself kills. Now, the comparison between Hag and Trapper is really big, because the thing about Hag is that if you try to disarm her traps, you will literally get value from doing it. You can teleport, punish them for trying to disarm your trap, and if you're using your traps for camping or securing a kill, it will be 100% effective most of the time. I guess we could round it down to like 99%, but it works like all the time. With Trapper, unless you're using the Eerie add-on, I can't come up with the name right now, you are never going to get value of survivors disarming your trap. I feel like this is a huge problem, and especially when you're trying to secure a 3-gen and when you have to take down and make sure to manage your traps all around the area. The fact that survivors can literally just disarm them immediately, I feel like it's very bullshit. And I'm just talking through my heart right now. I have no scripts at all. I'm trying to freestyle this shit right here and tell you how I really feel about Trapper. So what would I do to change him? Well, I feel like he is a setup killer, and he can remain that. It's nothing wrong with the type of killer that he and Hag is, but the thing about someone like Hag is that she can have usage of her power also in chase. And now it's very bad to use it in chase unless you have something to protect or something like that. But with Trapper, if you decide to put down a trap in a loop, the survivors will literally just W key away, and there is nothing you can do about it. You can bait them by pretending to place a trap, and then they will leave the loop and you will maybe get a hit. It has happened to me, but it's nothing that you can rely on doing, because most of the time they will just find another loop or a jungle gym to just go around and loop you on. So I would make Trapper's power more accessible in chases. Now, that could be potentially that he can have his power reworked a little bit, where for example, instead of only being able to put down a trap, he could like start up a charging power, and like someone like Oni, before he can like go around with full mobility around the map, he has to charge up by going down, crouching down, maybe getting a little bit less movement speed, and he can like slide the traps down on the ground. Now, this is a very hard mechanic to probably for behavior to implement and for it to actually work and perform well, but I have actual faith that this is a very good way to maybe try to balance his power out. So I would use for an example that if you're in a jungle gym and you're trying to take down a survivor but they just keep looping you, you can charge up your power, hold a bear trap down at the ground while going, and then just slide it across. That could actually lead to some nice counterplay against survivors and Trapper himself, because then it comes all to the game over, is he going to use his power or not? Is he going to bait it out or not? And I feel like something like that could make it a little bit better. But if for some reason now that behavior decides that we're not going to rework this killer at all, we're not going to change his power at all, we like that he's outdated, I would recommend at least giving him more buffs. something around like maybe not being able to disable his traps so quickly, like a 15-second cooldown before you can start disabling it. Maybe that could be an add-on as well or something. It could be probably very broken in some type of situations where you have kind of locked up a survivor and they have nowhere else to go instead of stepping on the trap, and they don't have any time to disarm it before you come and get them. But I feel like 15 seconds is a nice time where these scenarios won't happen too often. And it makes it easier to have control over the 3 gens as well. Now, the one thing that also Trapper relies on are perks that help him make the game go faster. Now, what I mean by that is that you literally, to play Trapper, you should always go save the best for last, and arguably, you could say that he needs brutal strength as well to just keep the pressure high. Now, that is 2 perk slots that is wasted on just getting every single pallet down faster and things going faster. Now, there's no problem with it. Every single killer has this mechanic, but Trapper relies so much on it that he has to use 2 slots for it. Now, I'm not saying that it is a must. I'm not saying that that's the only way it works, but I'm saying in a situation where you are literally, you need to put pressure fast because you have traps that you don't want disarmed at all or anything like that, then it is kind of like a need to just make sure that you're always on the fast track. That once you hit the survivor, you hit a survivor, it goes fast. When you break a pallet, it goes fast. And that's what basically comes down to the problem of his power. He is a little bit too slow. He has nothing for his power to help him out with it. And his power is extremely counterable. If a survivor can just keep following you and disarm the traps, and you really just don't have any map mobility at all too. And yeah, one other rework that I would maybe suggest is that you could perhaps maybe lay off your traps in some way where you kind of have to like equip it in some shape or form, and then you have to and then you get like a haste out of it, like maybe like 7% haste. It's not that much. I know it sounds a lot, but 7% haste is really not that much when it comes to survivors and killers. But I would think that Behavior is not going to try to rework him yet because they've tried to give him buffs, and they'll probably try to do it more if they keep seeing a decline in him. But these are just the things that I would recommend Behavior doing. They should definitely change him right now because he is literally the worst killer in the game right now. And he is slowly becoming, actually, he is just in high MMR a basic M1 killer. His traps do not do anything unless you put on eerie add-ons, but at the end of the day, they don't really do that much to help him. Again, it helps him more than without it, but let's face it, Trapper is outdated. He either needs a rework or a bunch of buffs. Thank you guys for listening to me.